So last time, project one is still undeveloped area. So there was a lot of discussion in last presentation. I wonder how each team developed their own thought. So project three is consists of three teams: Uni Sasari, PNU, Tish University. Okay, I cannot see. Yeah, I should back to the. Oh, okay. So I'll hurry up the process. Last time we exceeded 3 hours. I'll be trying to reduce some time. So if PNU team is ready, Hyunju Jung and Seunggu Kang is ready, please share your screen and start your presentation.
Can you see?
Yeah, we can see.
Can I start?
You.
Okay. Good morning and good evening, everyone. This is Seunggu Kang and Hyunju Jung from Busan National University. And we kind of were racing against the clock and think we couldn't fully manage to get everything across. So for today will be about some supplements in the analysis, the blanks we missed on Monday, and few cases related to scale and strategies about them. For the very first, the summary, there are 5 things. First is to consider both the residents and also the tourists, since the municipality wants the socio-economic effects, and also Olbia is inevitably a city with tourism. Second, we are planning to design on the gray zone, the place between the town and the nature. For this, we're going to touch on that later. And third, using the pre-existing attractions that are mostly greenery, the beaches, and the river and delta. And then fourth, we are searching for stories or spaces, even images that could speak for Olvia. And finally is to consider context. For the context, we did 5 things: the villages, driveways, coast, river and delta, and flooding. But from the last session, there were options that we were looking at the land two-dimensionally, and analysis of the greenery fell a bit short, so we tried to touch on that too. First, the greenery. There were many species with different heights and different adaptability to environments, so we thought it would definitely work as a critical asset when planning.
And second, for the topography, the lower left has a maximum height of 94 meters, but as you get closer to the coast, you could tell that it's almost turning flat. And for the slope, the white is 0 to 5 degrees, the areas you can build. Yellow is 5 to 15, kind of tough to build, and 15 to 90 is unbuildable in most cases. And as you can see, the coastal zones have no problem with building something. And for the presidents, there were 4 lessons we learned during the studies. First is to make walkable strategies within 5 minutes, like the Kistefos Museum did in Norway. Second is to make events, even in an environment surrounded with nature, like the project from Effect. Third, we should consider strategies other than walking when it gets to over a kilometer, which is our case. And fourth, we could divide paths into multiple sectors and give them different programs and different and design languages for walkability. For today, we actually tried putting the cases we studied to our site in the same scale, and we could almost fit 1 Haoyi, 2 Teshima Islands, 5 Kistefos museums, and 2 Chicago river walks, but we still couldn't get a sense of how big this was, so we tried comparing with the satellite images in various scales all over the world. So this is our site, and the upper center line is where our interest is. And if you compare it to Chicago, you could almost cover the Central Loop, River North, Millennium Park, and so on. And for Rome, you could almost cover all the way from Colosseum to Vatican City. For Busan, you could cover the whole Bukang North Port in Korean. And this is the University of Sasari and our university in Busan. They look so tiny from the scale. And for Vienna, I think we can cover most of the inner Ringstrasse. And finally, it is almost the same length of Central Park. So we kind of got a sense that the scale is humongous. And then we were curious of the 400-meter square block size, a 5-minute walk distance. So we, again, compared more of them. We were a bit surprised that you could almost cover a whole Hudson Yards block and the Eiffel Tower and courtyard of Vatican City, and thought that the collage from Monday was absolutely a nonsense. And we tried in smaller scales too. The little island from Heatherwick Studios is about 100 by 100, and for PNU colleagues and professors, from the main gateway to our building is about 330. So when it gets over 100, it kind of gets out of the building scale, and even the bigness that Rem Kool has mentioned would not exceed like 60 meters, but there are always exceptions. The recently completed Zai Shui Art Museum in China, made by Junya Ishigami, is almost a kilometer long, and Bryant Park is 150 and 280. The Grace Farm is about 200 in length, and for the kite workshop it is 80 by 50. So whenever the nature kicks into the sites, or when architecture becomes poetic, I think the scale is not one thing to consider, but I think that it can transcend the physical boundaries. And last space, it's about building scale. Our architecture department is 60 to 60, and recently opened Seoul Museum of Art, which was designed by Professor Jodrich, has the footprint of almost 70 to 50 meters. And for the Farnsworth, the building is only 10 to 24, but with the greenery, it almost covers 80 to 80. And on the upper right, it's a project that I worked on the publishing phase during the internship, and I brought up because this could give a sense of the scale for the same scale of the accommodation. And it's 70 to 40, and for the building, it's 11 by 11. And this is the interior, and thought this could really be a fit for the buildings for the sites. And to conclude, in this scale perspective, I think the building should be in every 400 meters, as learned from the previous studies. And for the landmark buildings, it could be 400 to 400 square block. And the middle scale cultural facilities could be 100 to 100. And for the tourist accommodation, and I think it could resemble the scale of MIM, the reference that I just showed. And I had time to review the comments, and there were options that the moderate style of planning would be preferred, but we analyzed that the municipality wants the socio and economic effects. And as Olbia is a city with tourism, I think we should plan this site like we plan the amusement parks, not the usual homes. And for the places, of course, we on Monday had data about villages, but we didn't mean that the plans are going to overlap with the villages, but because we don't want to interrupt the mood of the villages. Instead, we are about to propose a gray zone, a place near a village, but not right next to it, so that the tourists and the residents could meet within a proper distance. Also, for the forms of the buildings, we don't mean to design the cliche. And as the one of the lecturer mentioned about the Bilbao effect, we are looking up to designing something for the Olbia, for the contemporary Olbia. So to conclude, we should be selling the one and only stories of Olbia, not the let's make a livable space as usual. And we heard that the design phase is going to be begin on site, so this is the final page. And thank you for listening. This was Seunggu Kang and Hyunju Jeong from Busan National University, and see you in Olbia. Thank you.
Okay. Perfect timing. Okay. Thank you very much. Okay, thank you very much. We will ask the comments from the professors after all the presentation is over. Okay. Next is a team from Kyushu University who love pizza the most. Okay. Please share your screen. Okay. Please start your presentation. Kyushu.
Hello. Hello. Now we will begin a presentation. The title is Boardwalk Floating in the Delta. In Project 3, we focused on Delta region, recognizing the potential of the wetland as the mouth of the Padrongianos River. The delta is a home to a wide variety of ecosystems. They not only provide abundant water and food resources, but also create a nurturing environment for variable species, such as water birds. These wetland ecosystems are fragile and difficult to restore once they have been destroyed. That is why conservation efforts are needed in various locations. The seabed of this delta, teeming with life, including crabs, shrimps, mussels, and other small crustaceans. This rich environment serves as a crucial breeding and foraging ground for a variety of water birds, including species from the duck family, as well as breeders like sandpipers and plovers. Consequently, this habitat provides exceptional opportunities to observe a rich diversity of waterfowl, encompassing both resident and migratory species. As Delta analyzes too, we investigated the extent of human intervention. Roads are indicated by yellow lines and run through the wetland, as shown in the photo above left. Residential areas are enclosed by orange lines and are scattered like islands in slightly higher areas. Ruins are plotted in purple. We also find that both are used within the delta, as shown in the photo on the right. We wondered if we could reuse the abandoned buildings. On the left, the ruins are ruins of a park, and on the right are ruins of a hotel.
This delta is also home to aquaculture farms. You can eat fish and shellfish that are found in the neighboring ponds. Here is a sea level rise simulation. During Hurricane Cleopatra, the Sea of Olivia experienced up to 3 meters of floating. So we've set 3 meters as a maximum. This shows the rise from 0 to 3 meters in a time-lapse sequences. You can see that as the sea level rises, a large part of the delta becomes submerged. The roads connecting the settlements also go underwater, causing them to become isolated. The aquaculture forms in the wetland will be submerged. For reference, the projected maximum sea level rise by the year 21,000 is 90 centimeters.
Our proposal is to establish a boardwalk system accommodating both cyclists and pedestrians centered around the existing ruins and aquaculture farms. This network will connect areas of higher elevation while specifically extending boardwalk into area susceptible to flooding when water level rise, primarily the wetlands. This boardwalk will intricately spread throughout the wetlands, much like the veins of a reef, creating an accessible and resilient connection across the landscape. We are designing a boardwalk that float and adjust with rising sea levels. This illustration shows how it floats right along with the water level. It serve to connect higher elevation area when sea level rise. Plus, the walkway will have weight to keep it steady against wind and other impacts. This is an image of proposed boardwalk. There are people cycling and walking. We are also envisioning a building-like gathering space that floats on the water.
Boardwalks have a positive impact on the natural environment. By providing a path of people to walk on, they prevent the fragile wetland ecosystem from being damaged by foot traffic. Additionally, boardwalks allow people to safely observe the beauty and unique features of the wetlands up close without causing destruction. They are also useful for environmental conservation activities. The structure itself creates a new habitat. The area underneath the boardwalk provides shade and stays moist, making it an ideal shelter for many creatures. Algae also grows on the surface of the support posts, attracting aquatic insects and mollusks that feed on it. The boardwalk serves as a connection between the city and the delta, allowing urban residents to casually visit and experience nature. Furthermore, during a disaster, it also functions as a vital lifeline connecting the city to isolated areas. That's all. Thank you.
Thank you very much. It was also a great time. And okay, thank you very much for the team. The last team of the project 3 is a first team from UNISS. So Spano, Farris, Pulino, PIGA. If you are ready, please share your screen, start your presentation.
I'm sorry.
Yep, downloading you.
Okay, do you see it?
Yes.
Okay, so hi, good morning. We are the UNISS group for the summer school. So we wanted to study Olbia doing like a zoom out. We wanted to see the natural structure of Olbia and these environmental generative structures. So we try to study the northern western part that forms a granite hilly heart that surrounds the city, and the east system of gulfs with the internal and external gulfs, to see how the city of Olbia, its form is based on the natural structure of this territory. We focuses with our zone in the internal Gulf, where that hosts the delta of the river Padrongiano. This zone is comprehends the delta of the river Padrongiano and also the fluvial park, its fluvial park, which covers 33 hectares of green areas. They represent an important land for the city of Olbia, and is located in the western coast that is inserted into the Natura 2000. This is the borders of the Natura 2000 project. That is a network created by the European Union for the protection and conservation of habitats. It includes sites of community interest and the special protection areas. So it's also inserted inside the Contratto di Fiume, which is the river contract. That is a voluntary strategic planning tool for sustainable river and basin management. This area is as rich as it is fragile, and it's important to nominate the biodiversity that hosts these Natura 2000 areas and protected areas. Biodiversity in flora and fauna. So we wanted to nominated for the flora, such thing like the Mediterranean crab, the Posidonia oceanica. And for the wildlife, we have the European shag, the Hadrian's gull, also pilgrim oaks, but sometimes, more rarely, also golden eagles. We have foxes, Sardinian hares, and wild boars, as well as marine wildlife with grouper, sea bream, white sea breams. And not just in the coastal area, but also in some internal part of Olbia, we have a highly presence of flamingos, which are kind of iconic for Olbia. It's a thing that in Sardinia it's noted. So this place is also fragile, especially due to the phenomenon of silting. There is caused in connection between the internal and external Gulf. It is caused by the continuous accumulation of alluvial sediments, which lead to the formation of a sandy spit at the entrance of the Gulf, with the consequent risk of lagooning and also the losing of the marine biodiversity. The Delta River is highly exposed to an hydrological danger. This is the danger and the risk, where the hydrological danger represents the possibility of an event occurring at that point, while the risk represents an estimation of the damage an event could create in those areas. The hydrological risk and danger is due to the conformation of the basin and the torrential nature of the river, which is subject to flooding during intense weather events. We think that it's important to remember what happened with the Cyclone Cleopatra in November 2013 in Olbia, when the cyclone struck Olbia, causing severe flooding and landslides, and causing a lot of people losing their houses, their activities. Also, the part of the delta of the river was mainly impacted with the destruction of the Padrongianos Park, and then in all of Olbia there were 13 deaths. So to mitigate the risk of this event, this hydrological danger and risk, there are several risk mitigation projects that have been launched, such as the construction of a floodway for water drainage to reduce hazard in the urban, like this part, and the peri-urban part of the city. The floodway functions mainly as an hydraulical diversion, allowing the flow of a river or stream to be reduced by diverting part of it. So this hydraulical infrastructure collects water from all the minor watercourses that are inside the city of Olbia, and direct it in the Padrongiano River and in its delta. So this is the point where the floodway connects with the Padrongiano River, but then it continues to direct the water in the delta. The floodway is not just an hydraulical infrastructure, but claims to generate a different peri-urban city. So Olbia, unfortunately, is undergoing a purification event. The city is expanding following these main lines, leaving a lot of spaces overlooked that we highlighted. These spaces and the expanding of the suburb along this line are making the city less and less pedestrian friendly, and is just not really viable in this moment. So our green infrastructure there is actually the floodway, but it's this infrastructure, wants to define a border for the city, highlighting all those areas that are overlooked in order to generate a radial reorganization of the city, especially of the suburbs, and creating a sort of ring that will contain the problem of the expansion of the suburb, bringing so new awareness and services to that part of Olbia. Following the path of the green infrastructure that starts in the northern part and arrive in the delta, we encounter, especially in the southern part, so in the third zone, a lot of urban elements that are prone to requalification, such La Mia da Noa, there is a new neighborhood that is expanding, or La Fattoria Romana di Simbalconado, there is a ruin that is now abandoned but to be requalificated.
Yeah, please finish your presentation.
Okay.
And you can proceed. There.
I was scared. Okay,
Okay.
so while this overlooked area of the suburb are kind of ignored, we wanted to insert the city in a new ecological corridor due to the green infrastructure. There is basically an artificial river, and we could cross the suburb, the suburb. So this new river will create new spaces and services for the city, like schools or sports center, daytime nurses, and will encourage a new sustainable mobility, such like pedestrian street and cycle path. So we just wanted this green infrastructure to not simply be conceived as a defensive structure, but as a new element in the city that will cross and better all parts of the suburb of Olbia, creating from the northest part to the Delta River a new green city and be pedestrian friendly and more viable, including then some requalification of the landscape and some architectural building for the Padrongiano River and park. So that's it. Thank you for your attention. Sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Thank you very much for your presentation. Okay. Unfortunately, I heard of the professors, Serali and other professors from the host university. They are very busy.
Greetings from Olbia.
Oh, you're back here.
I'm sorry, I can't comment, but I saw all the presentation because I'm with the rector and all professor of the new department. And so compliment to the students and my colleagues and also Renzo and the other university colleagues can comment. Sorry, Professor Chun.
Okay, I'll handle it. So maybe the host university professors are very busy today. So if the Christiana can interpret the language from Professor Lanciano Cardine, I would like to hear the opinion from Italian University first. Is that okay for Professor Cardine or Miss Christiana Gerazzi?
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. Thank you. So I'll ask Professor Lanciano Cardine give us a comment for the three teams. If you are okay. Christiana, please,
Yes.
Please interpret.
Yeah, professore?
Sì, mi dica.
Se lei può fare il commento che io la traduco.
Che cosa devo fare? Devo fare il commento a quello di prima?
Sì, now we start with the critical.
Yes, it's
okay. I can translate the Professor Le Cardane, okay?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
Can you translate also Professor Rassano, please?
Ok.
Okay, thank you.
La critica a quelli di prima o quella che verrà, Cristiano?
No, a quelli di ora.
Questo del secondo gruppo, il suo gruppo o quello di precedenti?
Tutte e tre, Renzo.
È il momento della critica.
Ok, no, non avevo compreso il mio ruolo in questo momento. Ok, allora, intanto io trovo che l'approccio che è stato fatto da tutti i gruppi, che questo approccio di analisi territoriale è importantissimo per capire tutto il quadro idrogeologico che è molto, come abbiamo visto, vulnerabile, sensibile, ma che porta con sé però grandi potenzialità. Quindi io credo che ciò che hanno fatto tutti e tre i gruppi ribalta la questione della vulnerabilità in una questione che riguarda la potenzialità, ma allo stesso tempo la cura del territorio. Forza Cristiana.
Ok. The Professor Le Cardane find that this approach of all territory analysis group is very important for understanding the sensitive hydrological framework, and it's very represent a very potential for Olbia territory, and the use of vulnerability is turned on its id.
Tuttavia, quello che si, diciamo, che viene fuori è che il quadro degli interventi deve essere un quadro intanto di conoscenza di ciò che esiste, anche degli edifici esistenti, delle tracce, diciamo, antropiche in questo luogo. Quindi abbiamo la questione morfologica, idrogeologica, e poi la questione antropica, che va conosciuta e messa a sistema dentro un quadro di possibili operazioni.
Ok, un secondo. What emerged is that the framework for intervention must first be based on understanding of the existing building and the morphological traces of this place, because for the first time it's very important this work.
Le proposte che sono ancora, diciamo, delle ipotesi dei tre gruppi lasciano pensare non a dei progetti puntuali, ma a dei progetti sistemici con il territorio e con la città. Quindi l'ho visto soprattutto nell'ultimo gruppo, ma anche negli altri. Questa ricerca di far diventare il progetto un progetto complessivo della città e come anche estensione dei servizi. Quindi diciamo un parco urbano a carattere naturalistico, prestato anche alla presenza di alcuni servizi che possono in qualche modo spostare l'uso del territorio dalla città di Olbia a un territorio molto ampio e sicuramente per l'uomo, meno per l'automobile e per gli altri, per le altre infrastrutture dure.
Okay. The proposal, which are still in the hypothesis stage, suggest not the punctual project, but a systemic onus integrated with the territory. This was especially evident in the last group, where the idea became a comprehensive project of the whole area, and not just in Olbia, and the project for the city and its service, a naturalistic urban park with amenities that can shift the use of the territory, and from behind the city centered to broader, more human-oriented area with less resilience on cars.
Okay.
Okay,
Thanks.
the Professor Le Cardane was finished.
Thank you very much, Professor Cardone. Okay, thank you very much. Okay.
Very welcome.
Because all tutors professors gave us a lot of comments already last time, so I wouldn't ask all the tutors for comment. But we have 20 minutes left, so some professors or tutors have comments on the three teams. Please freely start your critiques. Okay. So, okay, Professor Jimeno, thank you.
Thank you. So I think this site provided some design hint that's a little bit difficult area to grasp their some identity. So unlike project 1 and 2, I believe. So, and the last time, every group's proposal used the information on fluid area and transportation hub, etc. But in this time, all three teams proposed to focus on the topography and coastal shape and this some kind of the scale. Busan National University like a scale. So I think this is very good challenge. So very good. But on other hand, so the coastal shape of this side with a deep inlet and long peninsula is a very unique, even in Sardinia Island, we think. So it would be better. So try to use this situation, utilize this situation. So for example, the So at the for example, okay, sorry. Busan National University team and Kyushu University also. So their idea limited just the inland. So hard to mention the on inland area. So, but I think it would be to use the had to mention the arrange some peninsula shapes or utilize the tip of the peninsula or the sea area like Sassari University, maybe Sassari University. So this is my idea. And the second one is all of ideas or the proposal, they prepared some facility to exploring or the sightseeing the natural environment. But I think surely there is some human activities and some kind of livelihood with this kind of natural resources. So, if we have a chance or some information, so the student have to try create some activity at that area with human activity and natural phenomenon. So sorry. So my English is not so good. So, but I think in south part of Japan, also the Tohoku area, also Chosun Peninsula, south of Chosun Peninsula, there is this kind of many port, I believe, the difficult, complective shape line, shore line. So this kind of area, there is the very characteristical library food and some kind of activity, not activity, the library food, I believe. So this is some hint on their idea to when they are propose some new facilities. Sorry, could you understand?
Yeah, maybe your idea is students could accept because they did this same project. Thank you. Yes, South Korea's South Shore is same as Orbia, Lias with a very short delta area.
Lias shoreline. Yes, right.
Yes. Okay. Thank you. And Purpose Chen, do you have some comment? You open your mic.
Hello, Professor Chen. I'm sorry, I missed some of the presentation on Monday. Yes.
Yes.
So today is a good opportunity to share with all of us. So I think in Site 3, the most important feature of the site is about the natural landscape. So in three teams, we have seen many topics about the biodiversity. So especially in the second team from Kyushu University. So I think the section is very interesting about the road and the water. So I think it is very important. Is a right way to do some minimal intervention to leave more space for the natural such as the fish, the birds. But however, I think we should also think about the activity about of the human beings. So maybe all the team can focus, can add some focus on the human beings activities. So yeah, including how about the village, also we should think about a little more about the vehicle road, how to deal with the contradiction about the human and the nature.
Yeah, thank you very much, Professor Chen.
Thank you.
So every comment from Professor nature and humans about the Professor Yadrit.
Thank you very much for the interesting approaches. Let's pretend for a moment that the architects could be doctors. So we have, let's say, 3 different approaches. The one is in a big scale, so you make totally check on your body. This is let's say the third one. The first one, the Korean proposal is more like a, let's say, transplantation of the skin. So they are kind of taking over the one single plot and implementing something different or implementing something which could be very, very interesting. And the third one is more as a Japanese proposal is more like a homeopathy in compared to this one. Is a kind of very light approach which might be very interesting in a let's say short period of time. So what I want to say is actually that they have to sharpen their approaches. I think most of them are very interesting, and they're raising the very important questions: in which size, in which scale is possible to solve the problems of Olbia. So the last one, let's say the third proposal, is giving very clear, huge boundary, protecting the city from the let's say west side. But I'm sure there is also the rising of the sea level and probably the waves and many other things who might be protecting the harbor also because of the sand and so on and so on. So there is a lot of approaches which are actually totally somehow okay. And I also show in my lecture that so how for example, the city of Vienna regulated the river of Danube, which was a problem in a big scale, and since then city totally changed the shape. This is legitimate. The question is only who's going to pay for this. but it's I think very necessary to think even in this scale about really big solutions. Yeah. The first one is interesting, this transplantations. How can we somehow implement something which we know that working very well elsewhere into the, let's say, foreign boundary, and somehow try to make it livable, or even to translate something from your own body, also like let's say skin transplantation or something. And the path is a very interesting approach with somehow reacting impulsively on something which is happening already nowadays, that the level of the sea is somehow, for example, in cities like Venice, so Altacqua, but elsewhere as well. Also, this unfortunate rising of the sea level through the wind and so on could be causing a big damage inside several hours in every single place in the Mediterranean Sea. So I think that the bottom line, I think that students have to keep on their approaches, but somehow to formulate them more precisely and keep on really being focused on the scale, because I think it's what I'm seeing and reading between the lines, probably the most important message we saw today.
Thank you very much, Professor Yadrich.
Sure.
Yeah, thank you. And Professor Sana is also on the mic, so you would like to give students some comment or not? Okay. So any tutors? Then can I move to the second presentation? So I'll move to the second presentation. Thank you very much. Second project.
Scusa Gianfranco, ma vuoi fare qualche commento? Sorry, Professor Chu, Professor Sana is...
Sì, ho risposto sì, ma forse non mi ha sentito, però devo chiedere a Cristiana se mi fa da...
Sì.
aiuto. Buongiorno Cristiana. Allora mi dai una mano d'aiuto?
Sì, io ci sono. Prego.
Va bene, grazie.
I can translate the Professor Sana, ok?
Grazie. Vabbè, innanzitutto mi complimento con i ragazzi perché hanno così avuto una capacità anche di sintesi e di lettura interessante. Faccio piccoli periodi, va meglio? Allora, l'aria, diciamo, chiaramente è una componente naturale che predomina e quindi e come tale bisogna in qualche modo far di tutto affinché questa dimensione venga tutelata e conservata.
Okay, I start. For the first time, the Professor Sena congratulated with the students who showed the strong synthesis and organization skill in their work. For sure, this area is a very big and is natural component is very important and that dominated, and as such, this dimension must be protected.
Allora, però siccome nella Terra non esistono luoghi vergini dove l'uomo non è in qualche modo non ha operato, non è arrivato, anche in questo caso noi leggiamo questo che abbiamo richiamato la volta scorsa, e cioè la presenza di un palinsesto. Questo è un luogo in un certo senso che è stato solcato, segnato da azioni antropiche che ne hanno caratterizzato, diciamo, forma e anche sviluppi. Mi riferisco in particolare a tutta l'infrastruttura agricola che in un certo senso si adagia su questi territori.
Okay. On this territory is there are no untouched place by the human, but I've not seen the signal. Even in this case, we can read the presence of palimpsest, a place marked by human action that have shaped its form and development, special throughout in the infrastructure intervention.
E penso quindi che per il progetto sia di grande utilità partire proprio da questi segni, attribuendo loro dei significati che vanno forse oltre quelli che hanno avuto in origine, o comunque che, come dire, complementino in un certo senso e forse arricchiscano la funzione originaria. Un esempio, mi riferisco per esempio alla trama, no, di passaggi, di percorsi, eccetera, utilizzati per mettere in collegamento i diversi suoli agricoli e che oggi, rivisti in chiave, diciamo, più naturale, e anche per un possibile utilizzo a parco urbano, naturale, potrebbero essere rivisitati e utilizzati all'interno di una nuova trama, diciamo, di impianto del parco che consente alle persone di muoversi all'interno di questo parco naturale, a valenza naturale, diciamo.
Okay. He believe that for the project it is right to start from this trace. Assigning team means that go behind the origin or that complement the original function. But for example, there is a network of paths used to be connected at different agricultural lands, which can now be reinterpreted and decorated natural lands for uses, for example, a urban park. But this draw now it's not good. For this reason, we can reorganize the paths could be resignated in a new layout, for example, a park system for the human.
Un altro elemento, e concludo, di attenzione può essere riservato a meglio curare, diciamo, le relazioni tra strutture insediative, tra quindi anche l'abitato, no? Le forme insediative che già esistono e che si sono insediate in questo luogo, forse in maniera un po' disattenta rispetto alla peculiarità e alla bellezza dei luoghi, diciamo, e alle loro caratteristiche fisiche naturali. E quindi magari il progetto dovrebbe in un certo senso migliorare, ecco, le relazioni tra il costruito e il paesaggio, diciamo, naturale, ambientale che il costruito ha incontrato e che forse non è molto curato. Si è costruito, per intenderci, un luogo particolarmente sensibile che forse avrebbe bisogno di una rivisitazione dal punto di vista del progetto, ecco.
Ok, credo che abbiamo proprio 2 minuti, 2 minutes. Another key point of attention is to take care of the relationship between the existent settlement structure the inhabited the area which are currently related to the landscape. The project should therefore aim to build and improve this connection and the relationship between the existent and the landscape.
Grazie Cristiano.
Niente. Ok, finish.
Thank you very much, Professor Sana. Thank you. And okay, now we start the presentation of Project 2. Project 2 is the first team is from Tongji University, Luo and Wang. You're online.
Yes, I'll share my screen.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, can you see it?
Yes, yes.
Good morning and good afternoon, everyone. And today I'd like to share our project titled Design for Healthier Lifestyle, focusing on Project 2. And our analysis explores how urban design can address processing health challenges while improving overall quality of life. First, Obia serves as both a major port and a tourist hub, so this surge puts heavy pressure on infrastructure, public services, and natural resources. The city's structure comprising the port, historical center, and the modern residential districts exists within a Mediterranean climate, which adds another layer of complexity, especially concerning water security. Obia's ecosystems are under threat. Coastal wastelands and river deltas, vital for flood control and biodiversity, suffer from vegetation loss, water pollution, and urban explanation. Since 2000, unplanned construction has fragmented these habitats, risking ecological compost. Compounding environmental issues, Obia faces high flood and landslide risks, as highlighted by Italy's 2024 hydrological instability report. These hazards disproportionately affect vulnerable communities and tourists alike. Despite these challenges, Obia has valuable green resources. The city offers about 10.76 square kilometers of public green spaces. This kind of parks provides a strong foundation for our health oriented design strategies. Through their connectivity and accessibility can be improved. However, public spaces lack integration with transportation. Pedestrian streets in the historical center fail to connect to bus hubs and the seaside, while coastal area lacks continuous walking or cycling paths, limiting accessibility and the community interaction. Also, the public transit is inadequate. Only 10% of residents live within 500 meters of a bus stop, forcing reliance on private cars. This not only worsens traffic, but also excludes those without access to vehicles. The slow traffic network, critical for active lifestyle, is fragmented. Waterfront areas prime for walking and cycling remaining underdeveloped, missing opportunities to promote healthy behaviors. Also, healthcare access is a pressing issue. Settings faces a shortage of general practitioners, and the Obia's 3 hospitals struggles to serve 102,000 South residents. Even with 3 hospitals, accessibility is uneven. While most residents are geographically covered, response times lag during tourist peaks, leaving both locals and visitors vulnerable. So now let's focus on our core strategy, designing for healthier lifestyles. This framework integrates environmental, social, and physical health to create resilient and inclusive urban spaces. Our approach targets 3 pillars reduce environmental hazards, promoting active behaviors and ensuring equitable access to health resources. We address risks to both residents like port pollution and tourists such as heat stroke. Third, to ensure health resources, we propose a system of multi-level public services organized around workable neighborhoods to improve access to daily needs and health care. These interventions will create a more sustainable and livable city. Finally, we will construct a coastal green eco. And this picture shows our strategies to improve our health resources. And as we can see in the walking time limited to 2 minutes, 5 minutes, and 10 minutes, we can have a great approach to those health resources. And finally, we will construct a coastal green ecological network, link key nodes with a pleasant, slow-moving system, and optimizing transportation to boost regional connectivity. Sustainability remains central, ensuring harmony between urban development and nature. To conclude, Aurora has the potential to become a model for healthy, sustainable cities, but by integrating green infrastructure, inclusive mobility, and equitable services, we can create a place where both residents and visitors thrive. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Tongji. You have a minute left, but Tongji teams are always very strongly productive on-site design workshop. So we look forward to see your design later. Okay, second team of project 2 is Oita University. Kondo and Baba. If you are ready, please start your presentation. Thank you. Beautiful. We can hear your voice.
Okay, I'll begin the presentation. Hello, we are students at Oita University. We will be presenting on Project 2. The first is the site analysis. Figure 1 shows the target area for Project 2. The target area was divided into 4 areas based on the characteristics of each area. We consider the red area to be the main tourist area, the orange area to be the residential area, the blue area to be the transportation area, and the green area to be the natural area. In addition, the red arrows in the figure indicate tourist traffic flow, while the orange arrows indicate resident traffic flow. There are many roads that are difficult for tourists to walk on, so it is expected that people will often use cars to move between each area. Based on these findings, we consider 4 issues facing the target area. The first is the distance from the airport to the tourist area is far, and there are no tourist attractions along the way. The second is the natural area is not being utilized effectively. The third is that it is difficult for tourists and residents to walk between areas. The last is that there are no landmark buildings. Based on these considerations, we offer the following suggestions. The title is M. M has two meanings in Japanese. One is sago. The other is an encounter or relationship between people. In the building we propose, people will choose what they want to do and will not interfere with each other's choices. People accept each other's actions and new connections are formed in the town surrounding the bay.
Are the diagrams of our proposal. The first is the closing of gaze in different spaces intersected by the change in height. The second is interaction. New spaces are created by the interaction between tourist and resident. The last is the flow of people. The flow of people's movement is made unstoppable and smooth by the circular structures. The newly planned buildings are as follows. The first is the installation of sidewalks to facilitate pedestrian movement. The second is the construction of facilities with tourism and community exchange function. The effect of the newly planned buildings are as follows. Placed in areas by installation of sidewalks, the facility will become a place where tourists and residents can interact. These are the description of the facilities. There are space for tourism, space for residents, and public space that can be used by both. Each space is at a different height and people can choose what they are to interact with each other. Here shows an image of our buildings. As shown in this building's model, each space is at a different height. Tourists and residents can interact on the lowest floor. In addition, the lowest floor is floated above ground level, so that it will not lose function even in flooded. Thank you very much for your attention. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for that team. And I'm sorry, I forgot one student's name, ASHIKARI. Three students prepared the presentation. Thank you very much. And third team of project 2 is from Teuvin. So last time, Miss Feininger presented the presentation. Today is
Can you see my screen?
yes, yeah, you can see.
Okay.
You hear.
Okay. Hello again from Vienna. And today we want to present to you our further developments on our concept Olbia overlay. And last week or on Monday, we already presented to you all the urban, cultural, and environmental challenges Olbia is facing. But we also mentioned its lush nature and the potential that arises through working with these problems. To summarize, our goal is to enhance the mobility and accessibility of the area and to create a platform for educational and cultural events, but at the same time to preserve Olbia's nature and also the historical sites. Our main interventions are a pathway and a tower overlooking Olbia's nature, and furthermore, an inviting harbor region, as well as an institute located in the old arsenal, which is accompanied by a park along the Padrongiano River. And those main interventions are all connected by a pathway, which is now enclosed by a boat route, and which also enables not only mobile people to use our path, but also, for example, elderly people to experience Obia's nature and also the coastline. Regarding the dimensions of our pathway, the total length is about 7 kilometers, which means that it would take about 2 hours when walking really slow, or about 15 minutes by bike. So this is a major improvement, especially for a fast and at the same time safe route along Olbia's coast.
In addition to the sea walk, river, and historic walk, we have added a new boat path that adds a fluid connection across the water. This shuttle connection links the amphitheater area directly with the harbor, creating a seamless movement between land and the sea. An observation tower becomes a visible point for orientation. It's slender, elevated, and built from local materials. It's open, and the design ensures that it does not act as a barrier for birds or animals, but rather coexist within the landscape. The former arsenal is being repurposed and expanded into a contemporary institute for education and research. This transformation is complemented by surrounding residential and student housing, creating a dynamic, lived-in academic environment. The adjacent river is renaturalized and split into 2 arms, forming an island that becomes a new focal point for ecology and recreation. A public park with an arboretum enriches the space further, offering a living classroom and quiet retreat for students and locals alike.
Located directly at the ferry terminal in Olbia, the port houses serve as the first point of contact for arriving visitors. The buildings combine key functions such as a hotel, maritime center, tourist information, rooftop cafe, and restaurant. With their mixed-use program and strong connection to the waterfront, they offer orientation services in a welcoming atmosphere. Key features include a viewing deck, integration with the shoreline, and multifunctional use. The port plan reveals a linear sequence of volumes along the water's edge, generating a rhythm of public uses and reinforcing the link between city and sea. The customs building moved to the front, and the continuous pedestrian circulation path ensures ease of movement and encourages visitors to explore the region. Galura granite, a coarse-grained and weather-resistant stone traditionally used in Olbia, serves as the base material for the landmark tower, grounding it both structurally and contextually. Above the structure transitions into lighter materials, primarily wood, chosen for their durability and strong local identity. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, Tobin. You saved some time. Okay, thank you for your presentation. Last team, project 2 is Palermo University.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Do you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, everyone. My name is Cristiana. Our work starts by selecting and analyzing the 3 fundamental theoretical references that guided the project and that shaped our vision. The first book is The Territory as a Palimpsest by Andrea Corboz, published in Casabella in 1985. And Corboz describes the territory as a palimpsest, which is never a definitive space, but one that is written and rewritten over time. The second reference is The City in the City by Oswald Mathiangers and Rem Koolhaas, published by Lars Mahler, publisher in 2013, and the Berlin Modern proposed in the book Where Urban Voids Became a Meaningful Island, inspired us to interpret Olbia not as a compact city but as an archipelago of identity. And the third book is How to Inhabit the Heart by Bruno Leuter, published by Einaudi in 2024. Leuter explored the theme of dwelling in an age of ecological and climate crisis. Calling of a radical paradigmic shift, and the human are not separated from the nature, but are the part of interpreted system that must respected and cared for. This vision influenced our project, and in this part, we call discovering the area. We choose to broaden our scope behind the strictly operational boundary, including not only the city central area, but also the port and the surrounding zone. This approach allowed us to grasp the complexity of the coastal system and the environmental urban dynamics. We conducted in a deep analysis of 3 key elements: hydrological risk area, flood prone zone, and eroding coastal strips. These areas were not treated as a limiting constraints, but rather as a strategical indicators and for starting the point for design with a long-term vision. Our goal is not design for Olbia in 2025, but for Olbia in 2015, a city capable of evolving, responding to climate change and the social transformation and ecological demands. This our philosophy and idea we describe in 4 points: the study of the city through an analytical grid, the mapping of critical uses and the potentiality, in a deep analysis of a critical area, not only from an environmental perspective, but also socially and ecologically. And finally is the project proposal. And for us it's very important have the postcard reference, national and international case studies that bred our design imagination. This reference fascinated us for the ability to establish an harmonious dialogue with the water and the nature. In this part, once we identified the strategic nodes and emblematic building, we developed a map of connection between the city and the sea, with the goal of the rethinking mobility, not just functional terms, but also ecological and symbolic. We choose to promote the use of low-impact transportation. For example, the walking, the biking, the boating, and the electrical shuttle. This method not only reduced the project ecological footprint, but also promoted the slow, the consciousness, the mobility, and encouraging full rediscovery of place. Mobility in our vision became a narrative element. Each route is an opportunity to observe, to listen, and feel. a travel time in this sense is not merely a technical, but a measure of attention we choose to give to the environment around us. To move sustainability is to move in harmony with other living behinds, to reduce the noise and the air pollution, to respect our wildlife rhythms and not to disrupt natural flow. It is an act of care and at the same time a cultural and political issues. Okay. Our design proposal are articulated through three main interventions conceived to integrate into environmental context and generate a new relationship between the natural human and the animal elements. For the first, we have the bird watching tower, designed as a flexible and module adapted to the various geographic and visual conditions, made of natural wood and steel, and the structure provides a shelter and observation space for both people and wildlife. Some versions include and interacted the micro habits to support the bird biodiversity. For the second, we have the walking and bike paths, light, reversible, and resilient infrastructures. The supporting the structure is made of stainless steel with a bamboo thread walking surface, a modular float, and anchored to the safety with cylindrical weights adaptable to the city morphology. These paths are designed to immerse into a landscape following the waterline without interrupting. For the third, we have the floating breakwater, designed to ease pressure on the central port by offering a new docking area for small tourists or cultural vessels. Her to modularity is key. Each dock can be disassembled, adjusted, or relocated, and the goal is not built forever, but inhabit temporality with ecological intelligence. At that end, we summarize our work in a conceptual map of action. Okay, can I finish? And we decided the 3 points: inclusion and equity, promoting to access to the place, the resource, and the opportunity for all; coastal resilience, strengthening the territory ability to respond to extreme events; ecosystem reinforcement, the protecting and restoring biodiversity, creating favorable habitats. And we also estimated the potential employment impact of our proposal. The floating dock, for example, needs a morning assistant, a surveillance, a docking management. This employment grows not and itself, but a virtuous outcome of a project rooted in the care of the territory, synergy with the nature, and the respect for all form of life. I'm finished. Thank you very much for the attention, and sorry.
Thank you very much, Christina. And Palero team has developed and embodied a lot of ideas this time.
Okay.
You just finished your presentation, but I would like to ask you to interpret Professor Sana and Cardinal's comment. So firstly, I'd like to ask a host from Host University. Professor Sana is, he's not online now. So, yeah, no. He's just turned up the, so maybe from the Cardane, he's online.
Professore, se lei fa il commento, così io la traduco.
Sì, forse Gianfranco, se voleva intervenire prima di me.
Sì, ha la telecamera spenta, non sappiamo se è collegato.
Non so se è collegato, però forse sarebbe il caso che lui facesse un quadro e io poi... Ha il microfono spento, Gianfranco.
Ok, no, ora c'è. Professore Sanna, se vuole fare lei un commento, una critica, che io la traduco come prima.
Va bene, grazie Cristiana. Ma allora, tema difficilissimo. Ehm, Olbia, un po' come moltissime città, è ricca di elementi contrastanti, di forme, diciamo, in certo modo che si sono insediate, che contrastano fortemente tra di loro. Per diverse ragioni. Per esempio, c'è un contrasto fortissimo tra la dimensione della componente strutturale, che è sovradimensionata, rispetto a quella, che riguarda invece la forma della città, dell'abitare. E quindi c'è questa componente, diciamo, infrastrutturale che domina fortemente sulla componente, diciamo, residenziale e servizi, insomma, col resto della città.
Ok, traduco questo e continuiamo. Ok, the topic is extreme challenging. Olbia, like many city, is full of contrasting elements and form that have settled over time and clash with one another for various reasons. For example, there is a structural component that is oversized compared to the form of the city meant for living, is a dominant present that overshadows the human scale.
E questo è legato a come dire, a un problema di costruzione della città, che riguarda fondamentalmente lo zoning, e cioè la città costruita per parti funzionali, spesso non dialoganti tra di loro. Ora, questo approccio che abbiamo ereditato, diciamo, dal movimento, dal moderno, diciamo, e che ha un po' permeato tutta la costruzione della città europea, ma non solo, nel secolo passato, ha determinato, diciamo, la costruzione di una città per parti che spesso, diciamo, non dialogano non dialogano tra di loro. E spesso alcune funzioni diciamo, soverchiano le altre, cioè nel senso che in un certo senso le mettono in ombra.
Ok, vado con questo. This is linked to a broader use concerning how life in the city is constructed. Specifically, the problem is the zoning. The city has been built throughout the functional part that do not communicate with each other. This approach inherited from the modernist movement has deeply influenced the development of European city and behind. It has led to creation of a fragment urban area where different functions are disconnected and some often up overshadowing or suppressing other.
Nel caso di Olbia, in particolare, anche la dimensione ambientale, naturale, è una dimensione che, come dire, è importante, no? È una dimensione molto che si confronta, diciamo, dal punto di vista proprio della sua forza, al pari con le componenti artificiali, infrastrutturali.
Ok. In this case, in a city of Olbia, the natural dimension is also very important. It stands on equal footing with the other urban components in terms of its strength and the presence. It must be as a key element that activity interacts with a challenge, the build environment.
Quindi penso che questo un po' riguarda un po' forse tutti gli interventi, no? Parlo adesso non rivolgo in particolare l'attenzione a un intervento alla proposta di un gruppo piuttosto che quella di un altro, ma diciamo in generale ritengo che il progetto, diciamo, sul quale tra l'altro chiaramente state iniziando a riflettere, sia proprio quello di costruire una, come dire, una vicinanza, cioè come dire, un luogo di approssimazione che come dire, tenda a costruire l'occasione o gli spazi per far sì che questi mondi, tra loro contrastanti, in un certo senso si avvicinino, si approssimino.
Oh, okay, sorry. Okay, the Professor Senna think this applies to almost all intervention today, but more generally, he believed that the project we need to reflect on in a precisely about the creating a place of approximation, a space designed to bring these different worlds close together. The aim should be to shape an environment where separation is reduced and the meaningful relationship can emerge.
E questo, e poi finisco, un piccolo esempio, ecco, per rendere forse più esplicito quello che magari ho detto, ma che magari non sono stato molto, molto chiaro, è che dobbiamo, là dove esiste una componente, per esempio, che ne so, produttiva, che vince sulle altre, bisogna in qualche modo cercare di far emergere sia le componenti naturali che ancora sopravvivono all'interno di quegli spazi, oppure addirittura innestarvi componenti urbane della città, dell'abitare, per esempio nell'ambito dell'area industriale, oppure ancora per esempio nella grande penisola dell'Isola Bianca, no? del porto praticamente che si apre nel golfo interno, iniziare a come dire, a introdurre degli elementi di urbanità, quali per esempio i luoghi per il tempo libero o addirittura luoghi per la residenza, cioè fare in modo che praticamente si rompa la durezza della monofunzionalità e che diciamo, le diverse funzioni della città si incontrino per dar vita a una città che, come dire, inclusiva, che accolga diverse dimensioni dello stare in una città, che non sono esclusivamente legate non solo all'abitare e al produrre o alla dimensione ambientale, ma sono tre elementi che cercano tra loro, attraverso uno sforzo progettuale, di far sì che questi tre elementi possano convivere, condividendo lo stesso spazio.
Ok.
Rompere la monoliticità della monofunzionalità.
Okay. A small example is that in the area where a productive component dominated over the other, it is important to make the surviving natural elements emerge. For instance, in the industrial area or in the Isola Bianca, the peninsula inside the port, here one called behind to introduce the element of urbanity such as a space for leisure or even residential function. This would help break the rigidity of mono-functionality, paving the way for a more inclusive the city, one composed of diverse dimensions that coexist and interact in the harmoniously space.
Grazie,
Ok,
Cristiano.
niente. Ok, it's the turn of Professor Le Cardane.
Sarò breve,
Ok.
traduca così subito. Allora, credo che da queste 4 proposte siano uscite, diciamo, due strade che poi, a mio avviso, possono ricongiungersi. I primi 2 hanno lavorato sul tema della cura, il tema dell'uomo, no? Dello spazio per l'uomo nel quale è possibile ritrovarsi in un luogo che ormai, diciamo, state svelando in maniera, diciamo, molto attenta. E su questa cura potrebbe essere interessante appunto questo aspetto che è venuto fuori anche del prendersi cura materialmente, no? Sono usciti i luoghi degli ospedali, proprio i luoghi della cura, quella più tradizionale. Allora sarebbe interessante capire come spingere, quindi il consiglio che io do ai 2 gruppi è di capire adesso questa cura in che cosa si formalizza nei loro progetti. E questo è molto importante perché ha a che fare non soltanto con i luoghi, ma ha a che fare con le persone nei luoghi.
Ok. From these 4 proposals, 2 paths emerge that could come together. The first to revolve around the theme of care, the space for people where one can reconnect with the other. This idea of care could be interesting, but to develop through traditional place of care, we need to understand how this notion of care takes shape within the project, how it is formalized, and it has to do with another space.
Sì, finito? I 2 progetti invece finali, mi pare che Vienna e Palermo, hanno secondo me molti punti in comune, ma un approccio diverso alla visione strategica del progetto su Olbia. Mi riferisco al primo progetto di Vienna che costruisce un percorso all'interno della baia e del territorio che è stato assegnato attraverso una chiave di lettura molto simile a quella che Gianfranco metteva in evidenza, cioè alla uscita dalla monofunzionalità attraverso l'inserimento di alcuni edifici che probabilmente fanno pensare non soltanto alle attività turistiche ma anche alle attività residenziali e altre. Questo lo trovo molto interessante proprio perché raggiunge molto probabilmente un quadro urbano necessario forse per alcune parti della città. Il secondo invece, forse è meglio che traduce questo e poi l'altro.
Ok. The 2 final projects, the Palermo project and the Vienna project, on the other hand, share many common points, but very different in their strategic approach to vision of Olbia. The first, the Vienna project, develops a pathway within the assigned territory, very much in line with what the Professor Senna described, in integrating the residential and the restoration activity in the order to create a urban framework.
Il secondo approccio, che è quello che abbiamo visto oggi, è
Prof si è bloccato forse.
Maybe Wi-Fi is bad. So,
Sì,
no,
invece la seconda...
Deve
Sì.
ripetere un attimo a capo che si era
È suonato il telefono. Allora, il secondo approccio invece, che sembra analogo a quello che abbiamo visto di Vienna, invece ha una visione molto più spostata, voglio dire, molto più radicale ambientalista, mi permetto di dire, in cui il paesaggio naturale ha, diciamo, un'attrazione, una forza centripeta, non una migliore, ma una forza centripeta forte, e concentra tutta una serie di attività legate al rapporto fra uomo e natura attraverso alcune piccolissime operazioni molto soft, molto dolci, che costruiscono non solo percorsi ma anche piccoli edifici leggeri. Allora io credo che queste due visioni possono stare insieme. Sarebbe molto interessante poi ricucirle tutte insieme, perché l'una non esclude l'altro e offrono due strategie di intervento che non sono esclusive, ma possono essere inclusive di sintesi di questo approccio al progetto Olbia.
Okay. The second approach of from Palermo is similar to the first in some aspect. Present a much more shifted, radical, and environmentalist vision. Here, the natural landscape becomes an attractor, a centripetal force that draws together a range of activity focused on the relationship between the human and the nature. It relies on soft intervention, such as pathways and a small lightweight structure. And these two visions can coexist, and they represent the different strategies, but they are not mutually exclusive. In fact, they are inclusive and complementary. Okay, ha finito? Okay, it's finished.
Thank you very much, Professor Cardone and Professor.
Welcome.
Okay, we have a few more minutes from the tutors and professors from guest university.
Mladen, your vision.
So,
well, the visions are now floating into the solutions, and this is the key moment, I think, in the work of every architect. As even it is very tough, I think we have to dare to give these ideas a shape, even if we are wrong. And I will also maybe underlay one more time what Gianfranco Sana said. I think it's very important to think about very complex city made out of living, of housing, of working places, and so on. Not just a scenic area which is nice to go through, and this is it. But it must be like a real life mirroring and facing in this approaches. So that would be, let's say, general comment for all of the groups. Yeah.
Thank you, Professor Adrich. Yes, thank you, Professor Cheng. Give your comment.
Thank you. In these four teams, I'm happy to see that all the teams focus on the coastline. Yeah, it's very interesting. So some team design some landscape architecture, including the Bellevue Tower and other and so on. So I think it is important. However, I do some research about the image of Orbia from social media. There are maybe the image maybe can be divided into two kinds. One is about the sea, one is about the old city. So I think maybe it may be how to say the boundary about the old city and the sea is not so attractive. So in the map, we can see there are many barriers to cut off the old city and the sea, including the motorway and the railway, and also some wall to cut off the relationship between the old city and the sea. So I think maybe we can focus more about the boundary between the city and the sea. Can we provide more convenient way to for the people to go in the old city to go to the sea? So I think how to say we should provide more convenient way to let the people, including the tourists and the local people, for them to easy to go to the coastline. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Professor Chen.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you. By the way, Professor Aitani is absent today because we have another Campus Asia workshop hosted by Kyushu University begins today. This workshop is we are discussing invited our partner European University next year. So we will discuss this work about the next year's workshop on site. That's why Professor Aitani is absent today. Okay, that's informed. And if there's another comment, I will start the project 3. If we have 2 minutes, if no comments, then please give student comment after the project 3 presentation. So project 1. Project 1 is start from the PNU team, Liu Xiang, Gu Gihyun, and Hwang Seung-hyun.
Hello, we are Changwon Yu and Hyunju and Seunggu Hwang from Busan National University. Today, we would like to present how we plan to develop Project 1 based on our previous research. To begin with a summary of our previous presentation, through topographic and climatic analysis, we identified 4 key issues. First one is the potential spread of pollutants by northwesterly winds, and second, generally low flood risk, but certain areas lacking sufficient drainage. And third one is a disorganized layout of industrial facilities, and 4, and traffic congestion and urban disconnection at key intersections. So among these, we focused on the waterway that traverses the city. We proposed that this water channel is not merely a drainage facility, but a potential urban public spine that connects industry, housing, and green spaces. Much like Cheonggyecheon in Seoul, it could become a corridor for people, memory, nature, and industry. So revitalizing the district with a new identity. With this context, we now propose a more specific concept and strategy for urban regeneration. Our purpose is to reinterpret the district as a living transitional zone where industry, housing, nature, and community coexist. Importantly, we do not aim to eliminate the existing industrial function, but to reclaim its rigid identity as a purely industrial zone. So how do we achieve this? We believe it start with reimagining the area not as a factory complex, but as a flexible and hybrid boundary space. Even the operating industrial facilities should be integrated into the city's landscape, coexisting with citizens, travelers, nature, factories, and memory. Thus, we propose a project titled Olvia Soapscape, where industrial space, housing, nature, people, and memory are not rigidly compartmentalized, but rather gently connected. Our concept envisions a soft, blurred landscape where boundaries dissolve around the city's waterway. The core concept is blurring. Previously, obvious urban zones were clearly divided: industry, housing, and tourism, with barriers such as railways and roads, or due to lacking infrastructure. Our idea of blurring boundaries seeks to remove this strict separation and introduce new buffer zones that overlap the edges, narrowing the gap and creating seamless transitions. This concept can be seen both from an urban and architecture scale. Before discussing the urban strategy, let's share additional findings from our site research. We discovered that waterway connected from end to end, particularly surrounding the industrial zone, an important realization for our spatial strategy. From an urban perspective, we aim to blur the line between residential and industrial and tourist zone by creating our renovating features that soften transitions. Each zone's identity is blended and reclaimed through a design. We believe the waterway itself can be this blurring mechanism, becoming the tool to soften edges and interweave functions. From this architecture scale, particularly in the industrial zone, we observe many unused or dead spaces marked in blue on a diagram. There is also spatial scale mismatch between residential and building and large factory structures, creating an uncomfortable barrier. To address this, we propose inserting mid-scale buildings between housing and factory scales, either by building new or renovating unused plots so that the scale transition becomes smoother. This enhances walkability and user comfort for both local and visitor. Next, connecting with residential area, we believe that everyday public spaces for citizens are crucial. We propose building multi-layered connection corridor from Western housing to the industrial zone. This should include pedestrian and bicycle paths, common platforms, and shared spaces that foster daily interaction between residential and industrial area. This is not only a design improvement, but a needed response for local revitalization. For cultural heritage, we want to explore coexistence between memory and industry. We propose linking industrial building, heritage sites, and waterways as a collective memory route. This includes a historical walk along the waterway that guides tourists through our heritage area and factories, while also transforming factory facade into digital archives that record community memories. For instance, interviews such as My Father's Shipyard Stories turn memories and labor into living references for heritage knowledge and the economy. Now, connecting with tourism. We believe it is essential to design an experimental urban journey all along the waterway. We propose a circular tourism network connecting the coast part and hills and city center through a water ribbon path. A trail of walkways and cycling paths would extend from Pitolong Beach to the city square with themes that reach tourists and residents. This allows visitors not just to pass through factory zones, but to experience a landscape where local life and industry are integrated. So our concluding message is, first one is, Ovia is a city of large boundary. Here, industry, nature, people, and memory do not clash, they coexist in continuity. And second one is, obvious future lies not in division, but in but in the intersection. The flow from industry to housing, green space, and tourism creates a new urban culture along the water. And third one is we don't divide the city, we layer it. Functions, spaces, and time stack and transition, forming a gradually transforming urban identity. And last one is Olvia Soapscape is the city's new identity, where industry, nature, people, memory, and everyday life gently permits one another without boundaries. Thank you for listening.
Okay, thank you, Pianyu, for presentation. And second is second team of Kyushu University, Nagao, Saito, Ito.
Hi.
Hello.
Let me share my screen. Okay. Hello, we are Yorito, Takumi Saito, Hinako Nakao from Kyushu University. We are going to present site analysis and design concept of area 1. And again, this is a site 1. And this is a change of the site. In 1954, it's full almost nature, but gradually developed. And in 1977, the residential area and the nature area are still connected. But in 2013, the industrial area is so dense, so the residential area and the nature area is divided. And currently, the zoning of the northern shore of Inner Gulf is urban, industrial, and the nature. And there are some heritage along the north shore of Inner Gulf. And in the nature part, there are some attractiveness for the site, for the tourists and for the people in the Orbia. And this is a hiking trail. So we can see the ocean and green and heritage around this hiking trail. We are thinking this is a strong point in this site. However, we cannot access to this area with public transportation. This is a bus route of the industrial area. So the bus route is ended here, so it's not connected.
We propose introduction of new form of mobility. It's rental bicycles. Rental bicycles offer several advantages. For example, they do not emit greenhouse gases, have low initial costs, can navigate narrow roads, and offer potential for revenue generation. With this new mobility, we propose the roadmap. First, tourists arriving at the port will go to the rental bicycle station, where they can leave their luggage and rent a bicycle. They will follow the coastline and enter the industrial area, where we plan to establish a tourist information center and a cafe near the entrance. After that, continuing along the coast, they can enjoy restaurants, park, cafes, and some activities as they cycle toward hotel. Hotel is number 5. They will also be able to visit the heritage area east of the hotel. Next, we will talk about the architectural design of each facility. Along the coastline of industrial area, there are many old factories and vacant lots. We plan to utilize these spaces in our architectural proposal. This is the overall vision of the new industry area we are proposing. This is New Gulf. Thank you for listening.
Thank you. Thank you, Kyushu University. And third team is Tailbeam, second team of Tailbeam, Rado and Koiman.
Good, I guess, nearly lunch break, everybody. We're Sara and Selin, and as you can hopefully remember, this is our project C4. And just in case for those who need a small reminder or refresher of what we planned, here's a small recap. We're in the industrial area of Olbia, of course, project site number 1. And and last time we showed you a general analysis of the site with all of the abandoned buildings and the unused spaces and the free spaces of chipness, of course. And this is where we think that potential risks meet great opportunities. And one of our main goals was to build a connection between the local products and the many visitors of Olbia. And we envision of creating spaces where local production, culture exchange, and innovation come together. And those formerly abandoned areas will be transformed into open market halls that host a vibrant mix of local crafts, food specialties, and maker spaces. Of course, we also want to provide the platforms for local artists to showcase their work with graffiti and temporary art galleries. And again, our key goals for C4 is to convert abandoned areas, connect different parts of the city, all of that while strengthening the local community and culture. Now, more in depth about how we plan on doing this. In general, the use of local and reclaimed materials is of great importance to us because we think that it plays a vital role in taking meaningful steps towards a more sustainable future. And given the location and it being by the sea, it was immediately clear that we wanted to incorporate locally sourced maritime materials. And along the coast of Olbia, you find oyster and cockle shells, and they're readily available and represent a natural and very valuable resource for us. I mean, the specific production process, of course, varies on the intended application. And like I mentioned the last time, the shells can be used as an ingredient for example, wall plaster, but also offer another great versatility for other range of uses. And like it's shown in the picture as well. The process still follows a very, several key steps, I would say. I mean, the shells are first cleaned and broken down, and then they're heated and then ground or pulverized to the desired grain size. And then, of course, the processed shells are mixed into some kind of base material. And I mean, it all depends on what you want to do, if it's a decorative wall element or whatever. Then another material that was important was algae. And it was interesting to us because it's sustainable and locally available, and it's a bio-based product with a low carbon footprint. And that's why it's like the perfect environmentally responsible choice for us. And in addition to it being locally sourced, it can be easily recycled and adapted to various uses. And the process is, again, very simple. It's harvested and then washed, and then it can be pressed into tiles or panels and or transformed into a more translucent material, like it's shown in the picture as well. The last material that kind of stood out to us was actually the debris and rubble from old construction sites or abandoned buildings, because it can be beautifully repurposed by breaking the material down and then integrating it into a new base mixture, for example, concrete. And it creates a look that feels both distinctive and still familiar. And our
key point was to not only reduce waste, but also contribute to a more circular and resource-conscious building practice.
The first step in our concept was to overlay an invisible grid across the district, establishing a clear framework for future development. One of our key priorities was the strengthening the connection between the city and the industrial area. To achieve this, we identified the need for a bridge over the railway tracks, creating a direct access across the barrier. The entire horizontal road spans approximately 3 kilometers, making it ideal for bicycle mobility and active transportation. Equally important was forging a strong link between the university and the sea, the vertical road, enabling a flow between research, education, production, 3 elements we see as vital for Orbia's future. We approach this vision as a phased transformation over time, starting with a series of small strategic interventions. The first of these is located 1 kilometer from the city and takes the form of a multifunctional building. This early intervention aims to reinforce the connection to the urban core. This building will be converted into open market hall that hosts dynamic mix of local crafts and fruit products. The second intervention focused on revitalizing one of the former industrial buildings, transforming it into a vibrant public space with maker spaces, an open gallery, and areas for workshops and community engagement. Open to everyone, this space invites collaborations between locals, students, artists, and visitors, encouraging creative productions and cultural exchange. The third intervention introduced marine research facilities with production halls. This creates a direct link between the education and the science, allowing the university to work alongside production industries in the shared ecosystem. As part of the overall vision, we also focused on revitalizing the district's main horizontal street. Here you can see a before image of this axis. Our concept reimagines this corridor with dedicated bike lanes, an open street gallery featuring large-scale public art, and generous tree planting for shade and comfort. The goal is to transform it from a purely functional road into a lively, climate-conscious, and people-friendly public space. Together, this intervention marked the beginning of a larger transformation, connecting city and the sea, knowledge and production, past and the future. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you for your presentation. Thank you. Thank you, Vin. And the last theme of today's presentation is University of Sassari. Lei, Goti.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Here it is. Okay, good. You're seeing it.
Yep.
Okay, nice. Good morning and good evening. We sincerely thank the professors for their insightful comments and constructive feedback from our last presentation. Their suggestions have deepened the clarity and rigor of our approach. Our central aim remains unchanged: to transform Olbia's structural vulnerabilities into concrete opportunities by integrating environmental elements with the city's rich historical heritage. This process is rooted in the principle of morphological sustainability, ensuring a coherent urban development strategy that respects both natural and cultural landscapes. As we have already seen, the territorial morphology has a decisive impact on Olbia's urban structure and spatial dynamics. The granitic hill arc to the north functions as a natural boundary, limiting expansion, while the complex Gulf system strongly shapes coastal development. Meanwhile, the network of watercourses flowing through both urban and peripheral areas governs hydrogeological processes that influence growth and potential development. Within this framework, reconnecting the cheapness industrial zone with the Gulf of Cunhana remains a strategic and essential priority. Ecological corridors serve as the operational tool to achieve this integration, linking industrial and coastal systems through three functional layers: hydrogeological connectivity, biodiversity enhancement, and urban accessibility. The goal will be reached through the targeted reuse of fragmented road axes and the activation of currently underutilized lots, transforming cheapness from an isolated enclave into an integrated urban component connected by corridor networks. Archaeological remains, including important Nuragic and Roman sites, provide a critical framework for ongoing dialogue between contemporary construction and the territory's historical layering. These preserved artifacts function as active urban elements, mediating the interface between new developments and ancient fabric through spatial relationship and material continuities that respect and enrich the cultural landscape. Building on the professor's previous recommendations, the archaeological environmental pathway has been extended to include the adjacent area too, broadening the project's geographic and functional scope. This extension enables the creation of a continuous, coherent coastal system that reestablishes natural and cultural connections along the waterfront. By reconnecting fragmented zone, the intervention weaves a unified environmental fabric, transforming isolated elements into interconnected nodes within an integrated network of cultural heritage and ecological corridors. The intervention addresses competing spatial demands by implementing complementary vertical and horizontal elements within the landscape. The Seligedu River to the east and the Kabuabas River to the west serve as natural boundaries clearly defining the industrial zone within the broader territory. Horizontally, a redesigned multifunctional waterfront works alongside transversal connections that integrate productive areas, residential neighborhood, and the central park. While the focus here is on a specific area, the overall project extends across a wider territorial scale, encompassing a diverse interconnected system that progresses towards the Gulf of Cunhana, addressing both ecological and social needs. The park serves as the core of the project. It is the starting point for waterfront development and the main access hub within the industrial complex. There are two complementary types of access, one from the park itself and another from the industrial zone, which currently has greater permeability. At present, access from the industrial area to the park is weak and needs strengthening, while the connection in the opposite direction is already effective. On the other side, the park opens towards the compact city. And similarly, the city extends into the park. Our project focuses primarily on the terminal access points, identifying and reinforcing additional entrances along the route. Within the park, functional islands starting from the industrial area can extend beneath the elevated road. Here there is a view of the elevated road, and also here with the existing vegetation within the area. These form an integrated part of the park where controlled building development can take place and create further distinct sections. In conclusion, the project demonstrates how reconnecting environmental and cultural systems creates an adaptable urban model. By integrating cheapness with its territorial context and establishing a continuous coastal system, it transforms vulnerabilities into opportunities. This framework offers a valuable, replicable reference for Mediterranean port cities facing similar challenges. Thank you.
Thank you very much, David. Thank you. Thank you for your presentation. All 14 is done. Okay, today is a very hard day for Christiana. So once again, Professor Ana and Lucardane,
Yes,
would like to
for the first, there is a Professor Senna.
Ok.
Forse Gianfranco
Sì.
Coraggio, Cristiano, abbi pazienza ancora. Allora, ma niente, le riflessioni adesso, insomma, operate dagli studenti, eccetera, sono abbastanza interessanti. C'è un filo conduttore che, per così dire, accomuna un po' tutti gli interventi. Ed è quello legato alle difficoltà fondamentalmente di operare in un'area industriale e quindi di inserire di ibridare in un certo senso quest'area, inserendo all'interno di essa delle forme, diciamo, insediative che sono legate all'abitare, alla residenza, e quindi creare quella mixité di cui si parlava prima. Vado avanti, Cristiano, o preferisci?
No, ok, posso tradurre fino a qua e poi andiamo
Ok,
avanti.
grazie.
Okay, in the reflection developed by the students, there is a common thread that runs throughout all the project. The difficulty of working within the industrial area and the challenge of inserting and the hybridizing this zone by introducing the form to living, to housing and the residential function.
Quindi cioè un primo problema è quello di far sì che in questi luoghi ci si possa orientare. E quindi forse la prima cosa da fare, che in parte ho visto alcuni gruppi, anzi forse quasi tutti i gruppi hanno già iniziato diciamo, a ragionare in questi termini, è quello di costruirsi degli elementi spaziali di riferimento che chiaramente si trovano già nell'area, che sono preesistenti, e ai quali poter ancorare le nuove forme dell'abitare, le nuove forme insediative. Ci vengono incontro da questo punto di vista appunto diverse strutture che sono già esistenti, non ultima quella infrastrutturale, cioè la maglia infrastrutturale, quella almeno principale, può contribuire ad agevolare l'orientamento e quindi diciamo, questo impalcato infrastrutturale può essere utilizzato per costruirvi in sua prossimità le nuove forme della residenza. Però possono venirci incontro anche le forme ambientali. Come abbiamo visto nell'ultimo gruppo, l'ultimo gruppo si ancora per poter, diciamo, inserire queste nuove forme diciamo, dell'abitare alla griglia ambientale, costituita, no, dai due RI e dal percorso, diciamo, anzi direi che loro utilizzano sia diciamo, la griglia ambientale e anche quella infrastrutturale. E in un certo senso siamo, come si era detto in principio, all'interno, diciamo, di quella indicazione che deriva, appunto, tu prima hai citato Cristiana Corbot, quando appunto si riferisce che le tracce, no, siano esse di natura ambientale, in quanto legate ai processi fisici, oppure quelle artificiali, quali l'infrastrutturazione viaria, eccetera, eccetera, possono contribuire a costruire quelle strutture di ancoraggio a cui appunto le nuove residenze e le nuove forme dell'abitare possono legarsi. Quindi mi sembra che da questo punto di vista, diciamo, un po' tutti e tre i gruppi si stanno attivando in questa direzione che mi sembra quella giusta.
Ok.
Grazie. Scusa la
No.
lungaggine.
For the first uses is making it possible to orient oneself in this area. The initial step at the last in part is to create a reference element, anchors, which already exists within the city. The new settlement form should be linked to these. Several existing structures can support this process. For example, the main infrastructural grid can serve as a framework for orientation guiding where the new developments are placed near. But environmental form can also support this logic, as the last group demonstrated. They made us of both, and these are links with what Corbo described. These existing structures act as the entering point for the new ones.
Grazie.
Ha concluso?
Sì, grazie.
Maybe I think it's the turn of Professor Le Cardane. Professore?
Sarò brevissimo questa volta, prima ero breve, ero brevissimo. No, intanto devo dire quello che viene fuori da questo lavoro che si sta facendo in pochissimi giorni, ma di cui io ero certo che si creava una bellissima energia, una bellissima riflessione, che è un'occasione per vedere da lontano, no? Per adesso e poi da vicino, un luogo che ha delle grandissime opportunità. E credo che qui ciascun gruppo le ha messe a fuoco in maniera anche concreta, no? Cercando di capire fino in fondo che cosa si può fare, non soltanto che cosa si può immaginare. Questo è la dimostrazione anche in quest'ultimo giro, in quest'ultimo nel progetto 1, come gli approcci che vengono proposti in qualche modo costruiscono un insieme sempre di proposte non contrapposte, ma sinergiche. I ristoranti, la rete dei ristoranti, la rete dei mercati, questa capacità poi di recuperare dove ormai qualcuno potrebbe dire non c'è più nulla da fare per la natura, anche un quadro, diciamo, di rinaturalizzazione. Quindi io credo che questo sia un progetto che si evolverà chiaramente quando saremo insieme, ma anche un buon punto di vista internazionale all'interno di una cultura che è quella della città contemporanea. Quindi questo diciamo, è il mio suggerimento, o meglio il mio diciamo, consiglio ai ragazzi di continuare e di incontrarci presto. Ecco, diciamo che non vediamo l'ora di incontrarvi a Olbia.
Grazie.
Okay. The work that has been done in just a few days, he was certain it would be excellent. It has all has to first look from afar and then up close to see the different opportunity. It's essential to fully understand what can actually be done, not just imagined. In this last example, the proposals are synergic and the network of restaurants, the network of markets, and attempts to restore a framework of renaturalization. It's a project that will continue to evolve when we come together, but it already represents a vulnerable perspective for thinking about the contemporary city, and we would like to discover it together in Olbia. Okay? Prof, okay, the Professor Lecardane is...
Thank you, Professor Sama,
Thank
Professor Cardone, and very thanks for Christiana.
Very
Thank you very
welcome.
much. Okay, some other comments from tutors and I guess to university. Maybe Professor Lawrence Kim, do you have a general comment over today's work?
Yeah, general comment about the